Hello, my name is Yasmin Diaz, and today we're going to be discussing an article which is titled The U.S. Trade Wars with Emerging Countries in the 21st Century Make America and Its Partners Lose Again, and a YouTube video called The Heat U.S. China Trade War Escalates. The main reason that article was published was to analyze the potential impact of trade wars, which was initiated by a change in the U.S. trade policies. We show that it was shown that such trade wars can hurt emerging countries and damage the global trading system without bringing gains for the United States. And the United States deficits with China is very important, which is one of the main reasons why we've been having this trade war going on between those two countries. We're going to be discussing three main countries, which are going to be the United States, Mexico, and China. And I think it's important to mention that the three of them are members of the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization. And Mexico and the United States became part of that organization as soon as it was established, which was on January 1st, 1995, and China joined in 2001. It all began after the presidential elections in 2016, in which our current president Donald Trump became president. He won his campaign, and one of his promises during campaigning was to get rid of trademark malpractices, because they've been abusing the United States, and it's mainly caused since the United States has a trade and export deficit, and China obviously has a trade export surplus on the United States. Whenever he was campaigning, he threatened that he was going to impose tariffs on 35% of Mexican imports and 45% on Chinese imports. His main goal was to protect American jobs from unfair foreign competition. He's trying to protect jobs. He's trying to protect from American companies on settling in foreign countries such as China and Mexico, where labor is much cheaper than in the United States. And a way he found out that he could avoid that or prevent that is if he imposes tariffs on products that are being generated abroad and coming into the United States. Okay. There are obviously Mexico and China have had to analyze ways in which they can push back. So what they're doing is they're retaliating. They're imposing tariffs on American products that are coming into the country as well. And from what I read and saw during the video, it was that none of the countries are benefiting from this trade war. It's only affecting especially consumers and companies, because consumers are having to pay more for products just because of the imports of how expensive it is to get a product into the country. And even though I do agree that China is kind of abusing the United States by importing so many products into the United States and not buying as much, I also feel that it would be a much better technique if the United States had more products to offer to China for more convenient prices. That would boost the market, as well as in Mexico. The United States initiated the trade war. Initiating a trade war, it's not exactly the right policy for improving domestic welfare and gross domestic product. as I mentioned, they're hurting the consumers. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to decrease the deficit, the export deficit. And experts have come to the conclusion that that will only be possible if there's a recession. And we all know that a recession is not good for a country. So maybe the main goal to retaliate against that isn't as good, or as benefiting for the whole country as one. Mm-hmm. Wars, the trade wars can be significantly damaging for these trading partners. So in this case, would be China and Mexico, and it does hurt the United States as well because it's also hurting in a way their reputation. A lot of countries are not wanting to go into business with the United States just because there's no stability in their trade policies, and no one ever wants to do um, like trade agreements if we know that they're not going to be firm of what they promised, and we never know if they're just going to come and establish new tariffs on their products, and that would damage the business. There's a lot of things to consider. Like, there's always two sides to the story, and in a way, since the United States is the most powerful nation in the country, in the whole world, they are in a way bullies, and they're the ones that establish the tone on how the trades are going through, how policies are being established, and that's one of the main reasons why China is retaliating so hard. It's because they don't want to be under the United States. They are fighting in a sense of power. They're fighting for the power, and none of them wants to lend a hand, when in reality they should all be together into setting an agreement in which there could be an equilibrium between both nations. They can equally export and import within each other, and that will set the tone for the rest of the countries in the United States. And China, Mexico, and many other countries such as Canada, Singapore, India, it would benefit us all if there was an equilibrium established instead of a trade war going on within these three countries.